The Habs got some tidy work done today. They signed Nick Suzuki to an 8-year extension at a cap hit of about $7.8 million per year. I think this is a really good deal for both sides because I think we all feel very positive about where Suzuki is as a player, where he's going. But it's not as if he's put up 100 points and 45 goals. You know, like he's still got to prove that he can be the number one guy. And I think because he still is in a position to prove it, the Habs sold him on a full-term deal, 8 years, at under $8 million a year, which I think is a win for the team if he develops into a guy who can give you 65, 70 points a year and be a stud two ways and up for the Selke. I think this is a really smart play for Bergevin and company, and for the player, I'm taking the security as well without completely breaking out yet.
Yeah, I mean, that's just it, right? Like Suzuki, it's obvious. Why do you sign? 63 million reasons why. You're locked in forever, 9 years straight now in an organization that you like, a city that's great, they treat you well, makes sense. For the organization, like last year he averaged 60 points, a 60-point pace. So I think he's already kind of at that, 25, 65 is his bare minimum as the number one center offensively last year, even though Deneau was around in Kotkaniemi. He was the guy. But his playoff performances, 2 years in a row now, have probably been better than, elite number one centerman type performance in the playoffs. And so they lock in that upside, which I agree with you, Hayes. I think he has. And the other part of it, $8 million, you're thinking, well, I don't know. I think we talked about, talk about salary cap too much or I lose but the cap's going to be flat for like 3 years, right? But when they pay off that escrow balance in 3 or 4 years, I think the NHL is anticipating a pretty significant jump into the 90s in the salary cap. And all of a sudden, if your number one centerman has 4 more years at 7.8 on a $91 million salary cap, that seems pretty manageable and a good deal. So that's the upside that Montreal is locking in.
Yeah.
Thanks for the concern there about me not understanding the salary cap.
No. I said you're not understanding, you're not interested.
Well, that's ultimately true. Are you surprised? Are you surprised the combination of the deal being done and Bergevin not having an extension doing this deal, the whole combination of it, especially Bergevin not having an extension, Johnny?
I'm not, and maybe I'm in the minority here. You guys tell me. Like, I never understood this idea that you can't have a coach in the last year of his contract and you can't have a GM in the last year of his contract, as if like somehow that would change how they do business. Like, he's a lame duck GM, so what, he can't sign contracts or make trades? Of course he can. Players play in their last year of their contracts all the time and are expected to be motivated by it. No one's a lame duck player. So I guess I'm not surprised by it, but I never am, because I don't think a general manager or a coach being in the last year of their contracts has any impact on the work they do and the way that they are perceived around the league or in the team or any of that. So other than Bergevin maybe wanting a deal that he can't give himself, I would expect to be business as usual for him the whole year.
Well, and you add in that a lot of these moves nowadays go through the owner's office. Like they're in constant contact. So, he doesn't just show up today and tell Jeff Molson, oh, by the way, I just gave Nick Suzuki $63 million of your money. Like that deal would have gone through Molson's office. He would have had a lengthy conversation with him. I think it's a fantastic deal. Like, to your point, Brian, I think it's a fantastic deal for both sides.
Yeah.
I really like Suzuki. The one thing I like about him, and this isn't a slight on any young athlete, but he's humble. I don't see a lot of young, these young studs all have some swagger, which they should. They're all stars. But he's the other way. Like, I think he's just a quiet kid that just enjoys playing, and he's got. I think
the timing of this would suggest it, Noodles. He could have been like, no, I'll let you wait, man. Like, you guys are going to pay me $9.5, and I'm going to prove it. I think it says a lot about him and his personality.
Well,
and honestly,
MJ,
I think that's a massive bonus for the Montreal Canadiens.
All I've heard, and then again, I'm on the outside, but all I've heard is that this kid is captain material. Eventually, when Shea is done and gone, like, this kid will take over. And it seems like it's his room already, unfortunately, because of the turnover right now. MJ, you're around that team a lot. I mean, I'm sure you've had some interactions. Like, this kid seems like just the salt of the earth, really, quality person and a great player.
Yeah, I mean, he's got that kind of quiet confidence, right? Like, he's not boisterous, doesn't say, look at me, doesn't,
right.
He lets his game do his talking. But like all great players, whether you're outwardly demonstrative and you kind of show your ego and flash, or you just carry yourself like with internal, I know I'm good, so I'm not really going to act any other way. That's kind of how he walks around. He doesn't put it in anyone's face, but he knows he's a good player, and he is. But he has that kind of temperament. And listen, Montreal's a challenge. We know Montreal playing there can be difficult at times, and so having your best offensive player be even-keeled, level-headed, a guy who plays defense as well as offense, probably bodes well for his long-term success in that city, in that organization.